Look, I spoke at the Melbourne conference and attended there. I think the real value comes from the rich mix of people that IQPC can attract at these kind of conferences. You've got building owners, you've got building operators, you've got manufacturers, you've got service providers, you've got consultants, and all of those people are actually key to delivering a sustainable refurbishment. So from a time point of view, it's well worth my while coming along, because Aurecon has been involved in the design of sustainable refurbishments. There's a lot of experience in that area. So if I want to talk to building owners and talk about some of the experiences we've had and to share some of the things we've done, it's an incredibly effective forum to do that. Particularly, I have to say, there was a workshop yesterday, very small group of people, ran for about 5 hours, was myself and another speaker, and there was a very strong level of engagement, good questions, and I think anyone who had attended that would have really learnt a lot about some good tips from practitioners about delivery of practical solutions for the delivery of sustainable refurbishments. I think there are the key lessons you learn are the individual perspectives that people have on particular buildings. I like Philip Rue's presentation because he spoke a lot about how you get a large company like SKM to go and track their carbon emissions and to focus on walking the talk. I thought that was very good. I really enjoyed the presentation from Boulderstone, because the Edmund Barton building is a wonderful heritage building, and what Boulderstone and the team have done there is to deliver an excellent result, both architecturally and from an outcome point of view, from an emissions reduction point of view, and to get those key individual lessons learned, to remember that stuff. It was good. I thought the talk that was given by Dakin on the chillers was great, because it sort of showed that if you want to go and achieve high levels of efficiency in chillers, you really have to think about things in a lot of detail, and he asked some good questions on that. I thought Dave Clark's conversation up front about how a small building owner can make a big difference to both their business and to reductions was really good. I thought the Mirvac talk was excellent, because it really showed that a large building owner like Mirvac, what they're doing in both their hotels and in the office building sector, some of the practical measures they're putting in place, and the decision-making process about how they will spend their money in terms of upgrading their buildings. That's great, and that's the kind of key insight that you get. You don't always get people like building owners like Mirvac talking in public in a very open way about that kind of process, and I think that's the real value that a conference like this can give. That's a very long subject, and you'd probably have to come along to my lecture to go and hear that. There's multiple things. I mean, I think the starting point is to really understand where every building will have intrinsic values that are that will help the retrofitting process, and then there are those things that are going to be difficult, and it's being able to realize what those values are, whether that's the orientation of the building, the glazing performance, whatever it is to know the things that are work within the building, and to equally know the things that are going to have the greatest bang for buck in terms of improvements within the building. And then what you do is you need to have a fairly rigorous process to understand the building, what are its compliance issues, what needs to be done to what investments need to be made because things are about to wear out, because obsolescence is a wonderful opportunity to not do like-for-like replacements, but rather to have the opportunity of upgrading a building to substantially improve its energy and water performance. And I think the other thing is it's trying to identify the things where you'll get multiple benefits from single pieces of construction. So by improving the lighting to go and improve its efficiency, actually to go and make it more effective for people who are working in the space, to go and increase energy efficiency whilst improving indoor air quality. They're the sort of multiple things. So buildings are complex, and it's hard to give you a quick recipe list on these things here. But if you come along to a conference like this, you certainly go away with some very clear ideas on what you can do to upgrade existing buildings. There's no question in my mind with things like mandatory disclosure, there's going to, and plus the new government initiatives offering 50% tax write-offs on energy efficiency. I think the government's recognised that existing buildings are a huge opportunity in terms of energy saving, and there's going to be a lot of focus in this area. Mandatory disclosure is really exposing the energy performance, and any of the large property owners have recognised that, and there's a lot of reinvestment at the moment into existing buildings, which is good. So there's going to be a lot of work in this space coming through, and what's good is I think all end areas of the industry are actually gaining from that. The building owners know the kinds of things that will do to go and make a difference. The tenants are demanding more sustainable buildings and defined outcomes, particularly the government. And there are also financing mechanisms coming in place, like the City of Melbourne's 1200 Buildings Initiative, which enables building owners to do the work, get grants from Melbourne City Council, and then collect the cost repayments associated with that from the tenant through the rates process. That kind of innovative thinking is coming through. So watch this space. There's going to be a lot of work in the sustainable refurbishment of existing buildings.